And they have this fantastic Arlo software, which you see on the big screen here. What we're going to do is we're going to have 20 individuals. They're going to be drawn at random. They will each cast a die. The outcome of that cast will be put into the Arlo program until we get to 20 of them. And then the Arlo program will magically have a beginning point for its algorithm to tell all the counties the batches they have to pull to do the risk limiting audit, where they have to go through and hand count that batch that the system tells them to do. In this particular case, every county will be told to count at least 2 different batches. I'll let Blake Evans, our elections director, come over and talk through this, give you those kind of things, and then I, as the highest ranking person here, am going to do the drawing out of the basket to get people to come up and do that. So, Blake, come on up.
All right, thanks, Gabe. My name is Blake Evans, Elections Director, Secretary of State's Office. We're excited to be here today. Counties tomorrow will be auditing. They'll begin auditing the batches that are selected at random for them to audit. Counties have had to, on their website, put the date, time, and location of where they're going to be auditing and when they're going to start auditing their batches. So public is definitely welcome to attend. We encourage public to attend if you're interested in what an audit looks like. I'll go ahead and warn you, it's a little bit like watching paint dry, but that's okay. We invite you to go and watch counties to learn a little bit about the process. I will tell you, on our website right now, on our Elections Division homepage, we have the dates, times, and locations for about 130-something counties on our website, so that's an easy spot to go. But every county that is conducting the audit, which is all 159, they have to post on their webpage where they're going to be having their audit and the time that they plan to start. Which, one note also, is all counties, this is a little bit different than 2020 also, but all counties have to start tomorrow. So they're all starting on the same day to make it a little bit easier for people to know start times. So as Gabe's already mentioned, in just a second, we're going to draw names out of a bowl up here. If you haven't had an opportunity to put your name in the bowl and you're interested, I think we might have a couple more seconds for you to come up here and do that real fast. But when your name is called, if you will come up here and take one of the dice, you'll be able to roll it, and that will be the next digit that is in the 20-digit number that will go into the Arlo system, which is what's being shown up here on the screen. I know we have a lot of counties that are interested in what we're doing because they're ready to see the batches that they're going to be auditing because they have no idea right now. As Gabe mentioned, every county will be auditing at least 2 batches. All right, so every county will audit at least 1 batch that is from Election Day or advanced voting, and another batch that is from either absentee or provisional voting. The reason for that is we wanted to make sure that every county is auditing 1 batch of BMD ballots and 1 batch of hand-marked paper ballots. And so that's the process that's going to be going on tomorrow, and for some counties probably into the day on Friday, but we do expect all counties to be done by Friday. All right, so on that note, we will begin the process of rolling the dice. I'll let Gabe go ahead and pull a name.
Look up here, and we'll do a Price is Right style. Sally Fuller, come on down. All right, first one coming up, Sally Fuller. Let's go over there to the edge, grab any die you like. Just keep it on the table. It's an 8. All right, who had 8 for their bet for the first one? You're getting payout now. All right. Now, number 2, Gabriel Sterling, come on down. I did ask, it's within the rules for us to do it this way, so we're good. Now I'm going to take this lovely pink and black. No way I'm going to this. 1, number is 1. All right, next up, Steve Ellis of the Mighty Owls. All right. Are you in here? No, not in there. What? Yeah. All right. Next up, Peyton Puckett. Come on down. All right. All right. Oh, he's going to be excited. Nick Northern, you're up. He even wore a tie. I don't think I've seen this before. All right. Bounce around the edges on these things. Okay, next up, somebody really folded this one. And they put it. Next up is Diana Brooks. All right. There you go. Zero. All right. Okay, next. Deputy Director Jesse Harris. Jesse's gone with a scarf for his, actually not a tie, so we have a very fashionable office. All right, next up, Calvin Sorby. Calvin Sorby, University of Georgia. Go Dogs. What was that, an 8? Yep. All right, 8. All right, next up, hailing from Oconee County, Georgia, Rebecca Anglin. All right, next up, a longtime employee of the Secretary of State's office, Lee Combs. All right. We did get a gambling exemption from the state today for this, so, all right. Next up, from the front office, Zach LaRoche. All right. How far are we done? All right. So we're running out of names in here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to recycle some of these in a minute, so we're going to have some comebacks. All right, next up, Daniel McBrayer. All right, representing the GBA here today. Thank you. All right. Next up, it's the last one we have in the box, but first in our hearts, Rochelle Simmons. All right. So I'm re-upping all these again because we've run out. Everybody who signed up has rolled. A lot of 9s and 1s. Okay, how many more we got to go? 8? We got 8 more to go? 7 more? 8. Let's get the math right, guys. All right, next up, Blake Evans. All right. All right. Daniel McBrayer again. GBA getting all kind of work out today. And Zach LaRoche, come on back up. You're nearby at least. How many more we got? Okay. Where is Diana Brooks? All right. And Rochelle Simmons, come on back up. Two more? All right. We got two more. Calvin Sorby. UGA representing again. Go Dogs. Whip those cats this weekend. Important stuff. And this is our final one. Okay, get your bets on the line. This is the last one. All right. The last one will be thrown by Dr. Jesse Harris.
Hey, you gotta tweet it out. What? You gotta tweet out the number.
I will. Another two. All right, so you have it written down?
Read it back?
Yeah. So we had 8. Hold on. If you could. And so just so I'm clear, it's in this order?
Yes.
That last two, the double two there?
Yeah.
We have a plethora of twos. Okay. In order. 8. 1. What? I know. 8. 1. Then 1. Then 6. 9. A European 0 for some reason. 2. 8. 9. 5. 1. 3. 9. 2. 2. 0. 2. 6. 2. 2. That's all 20 numbers. It's going into the Arlo system now, and that will give us, kick off the whole auditing process. What are we waiting for? Oh, and now we wait for one last county to get their ballot manifest in. But with that, I just want to say thank everybody for participating today. Again, this is part of, it's a couple of things. I was flippant about it when we were talking about Secretary Raffensperger trying to make elections boring again. What we really need to do is, A, make them boring again because people have faith in the outcomes. This audit is an important part of keeping that faith alive and restoring it in some people who have lost that faith. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you live in Georgia or outside of Georgia, we want people to understand that the state of Georgia is one of the best states, if not the best state, for running elections. They're fair, they're accessible. We have monitors here looking at the audit. We had a very open and transparent process for kicking off the audit. Our intent is to remain open and transparent, and we're going to reach the 5% risk limit, which was over and above what even the law calls for. This is important. And, you know, elections have been under attack for a long time in this country, and especially in Georgia. So we will continue to do our efforts, and I want to salute our entire elections team who essentially is here in the room today, thanking them and thanking the counties for all the work that they have done to make this happen. We will get through this audit. This is the first time we've had a real full risk limiting audit statewide. It's exciting. I know we're excited to see the outcome for it. We anticipate it being completed, Blake, by Friday afternoon. Is it 5 o'clock? Is there a deadline we have on Friday? Just Friday? Friday evening. And the goal is to certify the election on Monday. So with that, Mark, should I even take questions for this? Only about the audit. What do you got? Okay. Blake, come over here because you know the weeds of this stuff. Yes. Randomness. What you really want to do is you want to have randomness put into the entire process, which is why we drew the names randomly. You roll the dice. You don't know what that's going to be. And then you put them in that order. And that kicks off basically the system to say, these are the batches you do. And so we won't know in advance. So the counties can't go say, I want to make sure this batch is perfect and all the other ones are crap. So they won't know. They all have to be pretty good and well managed. And that's part of the process. But Blake, you want to go any further on that? Okay. There we go. Stephen. The only two human beings alive who really love discussing audits, outside of the teams who doesn't. By the math we've done, this would be a spitball. It's the same thing. You know what? This is math. I went to Georgia on a liberal arts degree, so let somebody else come and talk about math. Who wants to do it?
Okay. I can start. I'll start. I went to Auburn and got a liberal arts degree, so I'll take a crack at it, and then I'll let our folks from Voting Works, that are the real kind of data folks, come in and chime in. But one of the really great things about risk limiting audits, when you compare them to traditional audits, is they grow in scope according to what the margin of the contest is, right? So if you look in 2020 where you have a really narrow margin, we audited a lot of ballots because it was a really narrow margin. If you look at more of a traditional audit, where say maybe you're auditing 2% of precincts across the state or the county, that doesn't change at all regardless of if the margin is really tiny or if it's large. So the risk limit or the risk limiting audit scales according to what the margin is. And so this year, since it's a little over a 9% margin in the contest that we're auditing, we're according to the RLA math, we're only having to audit what'll probably end up being about 5 to 7% of ballots statewide in order to achieve the risk limit, which, as Gabe mentioned, is much lower than what the law actually requires. We're setting it at 5%. And then even beyond that, we're going above and beyond what that risk limit is and what the RLA requires to require that all counties audit at least 2 batches, because we want to show that we have faith in the process and that so that every county gets to participate in the audit. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to either Matt or Jenny to come up here and kind of expand on that to further answer your question, Stephen.
I'm Matt Bernhard, research engineer at VotingWorks. So you can think of this like a QA process, right? When GM or Chevy or whoever.
When you say QA, you mean question and answer or quality assurance?
Quality assurance.
There we go.
Thank you. When you think about GM or Chevy or whoever rolls a truck off a line, they don't want to have to check every single truck to make sure that everything on it is perfect, right? Instead, they do a statistical sample of their product, and then if that sample is out of bounds, right? If it's not up to the statistical standard that is set, then they'll audit more, right? And that's what a risk limiting audit does. So they're going to audit a small number of batches. If there are discrepancies in the batches, then the sample can expand. We don't anticipate that will happen. In general, batch comparison risk limiting audits are fairly robust to that kind of thing. But that is how a small sample can give you a large degree of confidence in the outcome.
What he said.
No, so every county has submitted what's called a ballot manifest, which is basically a list of all the batches of ballots they have and how many ballots are in each batch. We basically take all those lists from the whole state, make one really big list out of it, and then this random seed will go into a pseudo-random number generator that will pull that will randomly pull some number of batches from that big list, right? So it's not going to be the same batches in every county.
And technically it can't be, because if you're in Treutlen County, you don't have the same number of batches as Fulton County. So, and as Blake pointed out, you're going to have to do at least one hand marked batch and one BMD batch, depending on the 2 styles in which they were done. All right, anything, Stephen? That's expected, because human beings really suck at counting things. Computers don't. There's always going to be some variation, also especially on the hand marked, because sometimes those have to be adjudicated. So it doesn't really, as long as it stays within the risk limit in the math, that's to be anticipated. They're not going to be matching exactly. So for all the conspiracy theorists out there, when these don't match exactly, that's expected. That is not showing fraud. That is not showing anything. Just understand that on the front end. Thanks for asking the question, Stephen. Yes. Yes. We anticipate most counties should be done by Thursday because of the